Hey everybody, I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and I wanted to do one final installment on the saga of the Roost Dilemma with my hens. So shout out to Tiffany and Florida Girl and everybody in the San Antonio area. If you have not seen my previous videos about the Roost Dilemma, then I'll give you a super quick debriefing. This is like the continuation of the most horrible soap opera ever. Essentially, my birds, when we moved them out into the coop, we didn't realize for a while that they were not roosting properly. Now, roosting is what you want any non-predatory bird to do at night. Basically, their instincts tell them that they, that they shouldn't be just sleeping on the ground because they're more prone to nocturnal predators like foxes, raccoons, possums, that kind of thing. So you want them to roost on some kind of bar or a tree. Some people completely free range their birds all day and night and never lock them up. We actually have never had a predator scare here in our neighborhood in like Northeast San Antonio. So I probably could maybe try that, but that's a risk I don't want to take. So for the longest time, we trained our birds. We were, as first-time chicken owners, we honestly were just like, we just need to teach them to get in here at night so I can lock them up, period. And then, oh, thank God, okay, they're all in here, okay, who cares? And I wasn't thinking anything past that. So I had a couple of just final thoughts and final suggestions for you, because what we ended up finding out months later is that my girls were just, hey, there's some eggs. My girls were just sleeping in the nesting boxes, which is not that big of a deal, except it bothered me for two reasons. The first of which is that they're not really getting to practice their instincts. So if something ever happened, we were out of town, there was an emergency, and I couldn't lock up my birds at night, and they were just kind of left out here to fend for themselves, well, they're not really helping themselves if they just sleep like on the ground. So I wanted them to have that instinct of, okay, I need to look up. I need to find something up that's off the ground to grab onto with my feet. That gives me a little bit more of an advantage. The other reason is I was sick of cleaning poop out of the nesting boxes every morning, because I don't want them sitting in poop when they come back in later that morning to lay, right? So it's kind of like this tray that again is PDZ, Paul David Zebra, PDZ. Again, it's like a cheap farm cat litter. This stuff I only have to clean out every 3 or 4 days because all they do is walk across real quick, right? So that's not as big of a deal. This was a more high traffic area, so it's like, I don't want you guys pooping in here. So it's okay. Well, she needs to put her shoe back on. So just go put it over there and I'll help her in just a second. We have a poop emergency on our special outdoor shoes, and that's okay. So I have a few suggestions for you just real quick. The first major one, and this is totally on me as a new chicken owner, when our chicks were chicks, before they were fully feathered, before they were even living out here, we built kind of as a joke, and you can see them in my other pictures and my other videos on the Real Simple Mama YouTube channel. Just look for any of the ones that's videos of chicks. We made them with little dowel rods and literally little popsicle sticks. We made them little practice roost, just so we could like pick them up and bloop and put them on one and get their little feet to grab on. Okay, just training them. It almost looked like little, I don't know, little jumpers for My Little Pony races. Like they were just like little dowel rods, really narrow dowel rods, and then we made popsicle sticks like this and glued them on and just made these little tiny roosts. My chicks never really paid attention to them, and we kind of, I'll be honest, we kind of only half-assed practiced with them. And it was only during the day, like when we brought them out for little outside field trips. We never really were consistent with them. We were never insistent with them, like, no, you roost on this. No, you're going to go to sleep on this. No, I want you to, So we didn't train them when they were young. The other problem is, look at these brats. They're dust bathing, if you're not familiar with that is. And I have some other videos explaining what's going on there. I just like watching them because they crack me up. The other problem was, once we did move them out, and remember, your birds cannot control their own body temperature until they are fully feathered. So that's a minimum of probably 12 weeks old minimum, but it just depends on what kind of bird you got, what time of year they were hatched, etc., etc. Once they're fully, completely feathered, they're still kind of getting feathers, not, oh, look, there's a couple, no. When they're fully feathered, then they can control their own body temperature. And then, if they're fully feathered and it's above 75 degrees outside Fahrenheit, then you can let them live outside full time. So once that happened, like I kind of already explained, we were only concerned with training them. Okay, it's getting dark. This is where you go. It's getting dark. You come in here. Here, chick, chick, chick. Just getting them inside so I could lock them up. And that was pretty much it. And they figured out like, oh, okay, I go up here and oh, this is really nice. Ah, like a bed and breakfast. And then that was it. So a couple of suggestions for you if you still have chicks and they are not full grown, they're not living in a coop full time, they're still in a brooder, do start playing with them and do it regularly enough that they start to feel like, maybe this has some significance because this strange gigantic hand keeps bothering me about this. It's always good for you to be handling your chickens every day anyway, especially if they're going to be kind of like more like pets. It's good for you to be handling them so they don't act so spooked. One of mine, Dottie, my black and white, she still is pretty aloof. The other two will come right to me and they're not a problem, but we didn't handle her as much because she was always really kind of scared and I didn't want to freak her out, but now I kind of regret it. So handle them on a regular basis, pick them up and put them on. I mean, you don't need to build anything. Like you can see this, we have this for them to play on. Like just get them different sticks, and it doesn't have to be straight across. Like let it be all, you know, growing all weird, and that's totally fine. Just let them practice getting on something for their little chick naps. And then once they're old enough and you've moved them out into the coop, keep insisting every night when you come and check on your birds, make sure, like, no, you need to be on the roost. No, I'm gently going to pat you on the butt or pick you up and make your little feet hang on it. Because if they're sleepy and it's dark, if you put them on a roost, they're not going to go walking off. They'll be like, all right, okay, fine. And then they're out. So you need to train them really well when they're first living here full time. One thing that was good that we did, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I'll mention it now. You can have your coop set up before your chicks are, you know, let's use that number again, 12 weeks old. You can have the coop already built, already set up. What we used to do is close all the doors so our chickens couldn't escape when they were babies, and we'd just drop them in there and let them play for like 30 minutes. And then just kind of be like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. And then they saw this ramp. And they figured out, oh, I go up and, oh my God, there's something else up here. But that way, it wasn't like, okay, here's your first day living here full time, and this is the first time you have seen all of this. Does that make sense? So this was already home. This was already familiar to them when they were living out here full time. We let them just come out, and we just did little chicken field trips. And then after 30 minutes, we'd open up a door, and we'd grab them and put them back in the brooder. I've read stories and tried to help people who said, hey, I just moved my chickens out full time into the coop and they're so terrified they won't even walk up the ramp. So it would be good for you to get them accustomed. The last tip that I have real quick, I have read, go Air Force. I have read that the shape of these are 2 inch by 2 inch and they're just a rounded roost that comes with a lot of these coop kits. Again, this is Innovation Pet. A lot of birds, they don't like the way that feels. If you feel like that's the problem, then you can see my roost hacks video where I did measurements of this coop and I gave some suggestions to some viewers about other things that you could do. Some of it is not that much effort. Some of it would be honestly a bigger pain in the ass, but those are just some other options. If you think the problem is, no, my birds know what to do, they just don't like it. So then you could potentially build something else. But that is the exciting conclusion of our ongoing saga. I'll tell you, every night I come out after it's completely dark. It has to be after 8 o'clock here in South Texas right now. If I come out earlier, when it's twilight, you know, when it's not quite dark, the birds hear me come out and they come back down and go running to the door. Be like, oh, your late night treats. Oh, good. But it's like, no, I'm trying to lock you up to put you in bed, you stupid birds. So I wait until it's completely dark. And I still open this door every night. And they're always sitting here. Dottie sits here, Lollipop sits here, Calypso sits here. And I have to lean in and I scratch all of them, you know, and I check their feet or I check their vent, which is their butt basically. And I have to pat them or I pick them up. And as soon as I open this door at night, they're like, ugh, fine. And they start getting up and moving to the roost. So they know what to do, but usually they're still sitting here. So that's kind of, you know, I didn't put in the homework early on in training my birds and, you know, now look at them. Brats. So hopefully these suggestions that I've gotten from other people that I've read about, as well as what I've just kind of figured out from my experience, you know, that 2020 hindsight type thing, hopefully that will help if anybody's got questions or concerns about getting your birds to roost at night. Again, some people, they don't even lock up their birds. If they've got a bigger property or they've got maybe some bushes or low-hanging trees, they just kind of say, you know, bye, see you tomorrow, and the chickens kind of fend for themselves. I don't want to risk that. That would be pretty devastating to the kids to come out and find, you know, pieces of a chicken. So we're not going to do that, but I feel like I've given myself more work to do now because I didn't think to train them more when they were younger. So hopefully that's been helpful to you. That is the less than exciting conclusion of the Roost Dilemma, the epilogue to our soap opera. So give me comments of suggestions, questions. Let me know how else I can help. I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and we will be back soon.